When a new game releases, most people form their opinion about it on the first day. Nobody really says, well, this could be a really good game 6 months from now. That doesn't happen. That first impression is everything. It's very difficult to turn that around. If the general consensus is that the game is not worth the price it's being charged for, then that opinion is pretty much locked in. Because most people are not going to stick around in the hopes that they might eventually get a good game. A prime example is Cyberpunk. The hype train was derailed the minute the game launched, and we don't actually have to look too hard to find more examples. Let's look at Black Ops 4 Zombies. That game had great momentum behind it prior to launch, but then it released and crushed all of our hopes and dreams and inflicted irreparable psychological damage to many brains. And to be honest, I don't think that game ever really recovered from that launch. It was just all downhill after that. Well, it's that time of the year again, and the only thing that is more anxiety-inducing than No Nut November is a Call of Duty release. Black Ops Cold War has come and gone, and now we have Call of Duty Vanguard, and with every new title comes a new Zombies mode to look forward to. Now, I've been in the Zombies community for a long time, and over time I've learned to manage my expectations when it comes to the launch of not just a new COD game, but any video game in general. If I'm too excited about a video game, then I might be disappointed, so I always try to lower my expectations when it comes to a new game. And I gotta tell you, out of all the new Call of Duty releases, I was probably the least excited about Vanguard Zombies. And I can't really put my finger on why, but I just wasn't excited at all. So my expectations were never lower. So at that point, it was very difficult for me to be disappointed. And then I played Vanguard Zombies, and even though my expectations had never been lower, this game mode somehow still managed to disappoint the shit out of me. I didn't think it was possible, but here we are. Now, there are a lot of opinions out there regarding Vanguard Zombies. Some people are saying it's worse than stepping on Legos. Some people are saying it's new and different and it's the best thing to happen to humanity since the birth of Ryan Reynolds. But as always, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Well, kind of. So let's talk about Vanguard Zombies. There is one map and one game mode. The map is called Anfang, we're just gonna call it DA. And I never thought I would see the day that a Call of Duty game would release without a traditional round-based zombies mode, but here we are. DA is not a round-based mode, it's an objective-driven mode. The way it works is very simple. You spawn in the map, and you have this sort of central hub that's surrounded by portals. Each portal is associated with an objective. With each objective that you complete, the area that corresponds to that portal will open up. Every time you finish an objective, you get a bunch of points, you progress one round, and you get a Covenant Heart. By round 6, the whole map is going to be open. There's a total of 3 different challenges, and after round 6, you're just going to cycle through these 3 challenges to get to a higher round. With the points that you earn, you can pack a bunch of weapons, you can hit the mystery box, or you can buy perks. There are a total of 5 perks, and every perk has 4 tiers, but the perk system doesn't work at all like it did in Cold War Zombies. In this game, the first tier of every perk is free, and then you pay 2,500 points to buy the second tier, 5,000 for the third, and 7,500 for the fourth and final upgrade. There is Juggernaut, Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, and Diabolical Damage, which is supposed to be Deadshot, but it doesn't work as well as Deadshot. The other ones have different names too. Juggernaut is not really Juggernaut, it's called something else, but out of all the changes that we got in this game, renaming the original perks is probably the most unnecessary and unwanted change that we could possibly get. But I digress. There's also salvage in this game. There's a crafting table and you can buy different tactical and lethal equipment, but there are no support items, and that's kind of a recurring theme with this game. It's missing not only a sufficient amount of content, but it's missing some key features as well. And in case you haven't heard this already from everybody else, I guess I'll just beat this dead horse one more time. So here are the features that we're missing in this game. The number one thing that for some reason people are way more upset about than they should be is Pack-a-Punch camos. There is no Pack-a-Punch camo. It's pretty obvious that they were trying to follow along with the formula of Cold War Zombies, because the crafting table is still a thing. The loadout selection is identical to Cold War Zombies, and the field upgrade system is pretty much the same, except there are only 4 field upgrades. The rest of them are missing. The tier upgrades are not a thing anymore. It's a shame because they were one of the best features of Cold War Zombies. The weapon rarity system is also missing in this game. They try to sort of trick you by associating the weapon rarity colors with Pack-a-Punch tiers, So if you get a blue assault rifle out of the mystery box, it doesn't mean that you're getting a rare assault rifle, it just means that you're getting an assault rifle that's been pack-a-punched only once. If it's purple, then it's double pack-a-punched, and yellow means it's triple pack-a-punched. Here's another controversial one. The game runs on dedicated servers now, and for some reason, you can't pause on solo. And if you're inactive for too long, you can still be kicked from the game, even on solo. Now, pausing the game extends the amount of time that you can be AFK, but it doesn't really pause the game. There are no support items in this game. The only support item you can buy is the self-revive. There are no wonder weapons in this map, not even a ray gun. There's no main Easter egg in this map, and there are no side Easter eggs either. And on top of all of that, ammo mods are gone. Well, kind of, but we'll get to that in just a bit. Now, let's talk about the Covenants, and even though they're really not that interesting, they're pretty much the most interesting part about this game mode. Every time you finish an objective, you get a heart. You can then use that heart and buy a Covenant ability. There's about 11 of them, and they come in 3 different rarities. You can equip 3 of them at a time, and usually the way they work is that they trigger some sort of an effect based on something you do. Like when you shoot the zombies, there's a chance that something is gonna happen. And the higher the rarity of that particular Covenant is, the higher the chances are of activating whatever effect is supposed to be triggered. Or they give you some other measurable quantity of something that is increased with the rarity of the Covenant itself. This whole system does have potential, but at the end of the day, it's just an extension of the perk system. They just took the previous system and divided it in 2 parts, one of which is the Covenant system. And it doesn't help that most of the Covenant abilities are recycled from different aspects of Cold War Zombies. For example, they took the ammo mods away, but we have turned and cryo-freeze in the form of Covenants. 2 of Mule Kick's tier upgrades are also in this game in the form of Covenants. There's another Covenant that was a tier upgrade for Deadshot Daiquiri. There's one that was a tier upgrade for melee weapons, which gave you the ability to heal yourself with every melee hit. And the ones that are somewhat original are not that interesting. Now let's talk about the perk system. I absolutely despise the perk system in this game, and let me explain why. The perk system in this game is suffering from the Exo Zombies effect. In Exo Zombies, you could pack-a-punch your gun up to 25 times, and each time you pack-a-punched it, it would only get a little stronger. The problem was that the zombies were getting stronger every round as well. So you never actually got the satisfaction of overcoming a challenge because you never felt any more powerful than before. It is by far one of the worst mechanics implemented in a zombies game because it breaks progression. And when it comes down to it, that's all zombies is. Zombies is all about progression. You start off weak, then you work your way towards a wonder weapon, and when you finally get it, it's satisfying because you overcame a challenge and the game compensated you for it. And your reward is that you get to shred all the zombies without breaking a sweat. And the problem with Exo Zombies is that you never really got to that point, because you never felt a noticeable increase in the amount of power you possess. And that same problem is very much present in Vanguard. It's very difficult to earn points, so every time you get enough points to buy a perk, you're gonna do it because you need to make it through the rounds. But the problem with this particular perk system is that every time you upgrade your perks, you can barely see or feel the difference, because the final upgrade is what gets you the original perks. So you have to upgrade the perks 4 times only to get to where you're supposed to be in the first place. So it's all the same perks, they've just been nerfed significantly, and the game is making you work a lot harder for the exact same things that you've been accustomed to for a very long time. And working that hard for a single perk is not satisfying at all. The perk system in Cold War Zombies was very well done, and the perk system in this game is the exact opposite. Now let's talk about the objectives. There are only 3 of them, 2 of which have been copied and pasted from Outbreak. There is Harvest, where you collect runes by killing zombies. There is Transmit, which is an escort mission, and there is Blitz, which is a holdout mission. And you cycle through these 3 objectives over and over and over again, and there are people going for round 200. How do you not get suicidal doing that? These objectives are so repetitive and they're so boring and bland and uninteresting that after round 10, it becomes a test in psychological endurance rather than playing a video game for fun. I went to round 18, and that's the highest round I've managed to get in this game. And after that single game, I felt like I was thoroughly done with this game and I haven't touched it since. The general consensus about this game for the most part is all negative. A lot of people feel like they've been robbed and cheated, and I really hate to say it, but they have every right to be. This kind of reminds me of the whole Diablo mobile game fiasco at BlizzCon in 2018. This kind of feels like an out-of-season April Fool's joke. I have no problem with Treyarch taking a different approach to zombies. Innovation is a good thing. Some people are saying, well, you should stick to the same formula and not overcomplicate things. But this is not an overcomplication of zombies. This is actually an oversimplification of the game mode. They just took a bunch of stuff away and created this soulless, linear, objective-based game mode that could barely compete with Onslaught, let alone traditional zombies. The problem I have with this game is that it's not even good in what it's trying to be. You want to give us a linear, objective-driven game mode? I'm okay with that. But the problem is, this isn't even a good linear game mode. It's not just that they changed the formula, it's that the end result is just not good. Even if you're into linear game modes, you're gonna get bored really fast playing this, because no matter the type of game mode it's trying to be, it still severely lacks content. This game is in desperate need of content, and you're gonna realize that after your third playthrough. Changing up the formula is not necessarily a bad thing, but let's be honest, that's not what happened here. They didn't give us this game mode out of innovation, they gave us this game mode because the game is not finished. And they had to give us something, and this is probably all they had ready. It's kinda obvious what happened. The COD community as a whole is very volatile, and the general consensus changes almost every year. So Activision waited until about halfway through the life cycle of Black Ops Cold War to decide which direction zombies was gonna go. They weren't gonna waste a full year of development on something that might not have even worked. The last time they did that, they ended up with Infinite Warfare, which still holds a spot in top 10 most disliked videos on YouTube for its trailer. So this time, they probably waited, and maybe waited a little too long. And at the same time, they had Treyarch working on content for Black Ops Cold War and developing Vanguard zombies. And because they had to switch engines and move away from the old Black Ops engine and start working with the new Modern Warfare engine, that adjustment probably took a considerable amount of time, and by the time the deadlines hit, Activision couldn't delay the game, so they just took whatever they had ready and rushed it out as fast as they could. I really feel bad for the developers at Treyarch. I know they work hard, and they're doing the best they can. And if Activision had planned this whole thing better, or maybe skipped zombies altogether this year, we'd have a finished and polished product in our hands eventually. This is a secondary side game mode. It's not even fully developed, and it's not polished, and it lacks content, and it's not worthy of being the only content that we get at launch. This is probably the worst launch in the history of Call of Duty Zombies, and if you're someone who hasn't paid for this game yet, I would highly recommend that you'd at least wait, and who knows, maybe they can recover from this, but they're gonna need a miracle. They're gonna need to do something very big to come back from this. And Call of Duty being an annual release and Activision becoming more like EA every single year, I just don't see that happening. But I really truly hope I'm wrong. That is gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of Vanguard Zombies. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.